It's now time for the discussion segment of the show, and we'll be looking into Pandora Papers investigation. And we have Adebayo Hassan, an investigative reporter with Premium Times, to discuss this. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so let's begin with asking this Pandora Papers investigation. How did this even come about, this shocking revolution that we are seeing? One will say, well, some will say it's still an allegation and all of that until a court of competent jurisdiction found the person's named guilty and all of that. How did this come about?
Yeah, thank you. As you may have now seen in the news across the world, the Pandora Papers project is a 617 journalist and 151 media outlet strong collaborative investigation into a vast amount of offshore secrets of the powerful and the super rich, including many Nigerians, which concern us specifically here in this part of the world. There are leaked records, from 14 secrecy sellers across the world. And the journalists, cooperating with ICIJ on this project, believe that it's in the interest of the public to track down sources, review public records some more, and, disclose findings from these records, because we believe it would be a significant contribution towards effort against illicit financial flows, which is a very big problem affecting, us in this part of the world. So, contribution to efforts against illicit financial flows is a major motivational variable, behind this work.
And now, a few Nigerians were mentioned, in that investigation. Are you surprised that we are picking out Nigerians from such investigation?
We are not surprised, absolutely. We are not surprised, because it's not the first time we have got such leaks. You remember we have Paradise Papers, and the biggest before now. By the way, Pandora Papers is the biggest collaboration of journalists in history. But before that, we have Panama Papers. So we had Nigerians there. In Paradise Papers, we had Nigerians there. So seeing Nigerians in Pandora's Papers, it's not anything of surprise. But you also know that Nigerians, we commonly know that we have corrupt officials, but these things are sometimes just vaguely known, So we had our knowledge. So what we are only doing now is to put facts to it and give the people the kind of information they need to demand accountability. Also for the authorities too, like Code of Conduct Bureau, like AFCC, the information they need to act, so they can no longer say, oh, we don't know,
So now, how has these investigations helped in the past? With, I know a couple of Nigerians that were named in the past in these investigations, Panama investigation, Pandora, and all of that. How much response have we gotten from people in authority, the people responsible for prosecuting those persons to those investigations? And has it yielded any result?
It's in terms of response from the authorities, I think it's very abysmal. No one has been prosecuted, but we are very much aware that a number of Nigerians named in Panama Papers, were and are still under investigation. We don't know why it's been so delayed. From what we have heard, there are renewed efforts, even before these Pandora Papers. There are renewed efforts, to look at these assets tucked away in secrecy heavens, from EFCC, CCB, So our expectation is that with the Pandora's Papers now, the pressure will now even be more, on the authorities to act. But I think above all else, the citizens, the media, the civil society groups, we have got a duty. We are duty bound to step up pressure on the authorities to act. Yeah, and that's why I commend what Daily Trust did this morning, their front page. That's very fantastic, joining this effort, because it's about public good.
Okay.
You know.
Now, following this investigation, many Nigerians will keep their eyes open to see that something happens, like a form of response. And as journalists, we have that responsibility to keep talking about an issue until we get a form of impact.
Absolutely.
And as you've mentioned, we've not really seen much from Nigerian authorities following some of these investigations we've seen over time. Now, do you think we need to keep talking about such issues, in order to get more responses from institutions?
Absolutely, yes. I believe that we must keep talking about it. One of the things that Nigerian officials, and corrupt people generally think is that perhaps because Nigerians have a lot of issues to deal with, so they forget things easily, they will just say, "Oh, don't worry, in 1 week, in 2 weeks, everything is forgotten." But as media houses, we have to keep talking about this thing. If somebody who is accused of wrongdoing without denying it, without authority acting on it, if tomorrow it comes out to say, "Oh," if talking about anti-corruption and all that, we have to remind maybe second paragraph so that, however, this person, so we have to let them know that you can't do anything and go away with it. If the government is not charging you, we will punish you in our own opinions for it.
Okay. Now, ICIG shared, some of the recovered files with over 130 media houses, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Would you say this is a new era for collaborative journalism?
Yes, not so new, because the hallmark of ICIJ work is actually collaboration, and it's not only ICIJ, like between countries, like we also have this bilateral, no, let me say by, because we are not countries, but direct collaboration between media houses across the world, so I was going to make a statement, on Twitter this morning that what this Pandora Papers project, what it has done, for us in Nigeria, is that it reminds us that as journalists, we have to rise above these scoops, ego-seeking, stories. It would be really nice if Daily Trust, Premium Times, Punch channels, we come together, we collaborate on something. Look at what the kind of impact that will have if like 4 media houses, collaborate to do a single and say 1 p.m. on Tuesday, we are publishing together, and that's the news across the country. So I think collaboration is something we have to consider. It's not just about any individual glory. If truly it's about public good, it's about acting in the interest of our citizens in Nigeria, we have to come together. We have to share files and work as professionals. Don't leak documents and all that,
Okay.
All right. Now, what would you say to those who would say that, all this information is fabricated? It's not genuine. It's not true, all of these things. What would you say to somebody like that who have doubts over this investigation?
Well, even people doubt the existence of God. There are people who are atheists, but it takes a ruler mind, very unenlightened mind to say that, and I would just consider them inconsequential, because this is something that is breaking across the world, that has elicited reactions from world leaders, and in the case of Nigeria, if it's fabricated, we've done 4 stories already in Nigeria on Peter Obi, on Atiku Bagudu, the Kebbi State Governor. This morning on Stella Hodua, a current senator, and also Bello Koko, the MPA chief. We did that of Obi on Monday. It's now 3 or 4 days now. We should have been sued. He should have reacted in his own name. And we interviewed him. We had an in-person interview with him, asked him this question. He didn't deny them, only claimed ignorance of the law. We contacted Atiku Bagudu. He didn't reply to us directly, but he had to hire a London lawyer to do that. So what's fabrication in that? And
I think in the case of Bagudu, people will be kind of surprised at a corruption allegation towards him because of some of the projects he has done in Kebbi State. One will say he has been doing really well and would not expect this coming now.
But much of what we are saying about Atiku Bagudu is about his background, where he's coming from, what was he doing before he became...
His role in the Abacha loot.
His role in the Abacha loot and his current efforts to hide these billions.
Wow.
So we don't have facts about what he's currently doing in Kebbi State. But we are talking about what he did previously in helping Abacha to plunder Nigeria and how he's, moving from jurisdiction to jurisdiction to hide the money, which is the current issue he's still doing now, trying to structure offshore holding so that nobody would know and they will not seize the assets from him. So that's what we brought out in our report.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, in that report, I also saw something about all the allegations against him and all of that have been cleared, given the fact that he played a major role in recovering some of the monies during the former president's administration, Olusegun Obasanjo, and all of that. Does that not suffice to say that, his hands are clean now, based on that?
No, we don't consider that as having his hands clean. He had an agreement with the Olusegun Obasanjo, which was a secret thing. It was confidential. So even at that, we have a responsibility to say that, okay, this thing happened, which means an admission of kids. So that Obasanjo took a pragmatic step, because the government at the time didn't know where these monies were stashed. So they needed to okay, let's strike a deal. We'll drop charges, then you tell us where it is. So that does not nullify the fact that he participated in the plunder of Nigeria. And the matters are still ongoing because there are still forfeiture litigations going on against him.
Okay.
So as he's governing Kebbi State, he's also involved in litigations across the world, trying to keep the money.
Okay, now this brings me to this question. We have seen, the normal kind of journalism here and there every day. What makes investigative journalism extra?
Yeah, well, you said the journalism a word, investigative journalism a phrase. So that's extra. Somebody may come to us now and say, I have done this road, press release. One of the things we do as journalists is to make information go out there. But anybody can do that, especially in this era of all this Facebook, anybody can do that. But we should also ask questions about, did they truly do it? How much did they spend? Who is the contractor and all that? So going that behind to check these things is investigation, and that is how you can give people the information they need to demand accountability.
Okay, so Adebayo, what would be your expectation from lawyers, civil society organizations and all of that? From what we are seeing here, they are demanding special panel to be set to investigate that. But we have seen that in the past and all of that. And it hasn't really. Sometimes some of these issues are brought on and they are swept under the carpet, some will say. So what would be your expectation?
Yeah, I think mounting pressure cannot be enough until actions are taken.
Right.
Yes, we have to step up the pressure. But yeah, if government is constituting panel, maybe it's fine. But the issues are clear. We have agencies with responsibility for this issue. We have an agency that is responsible for issues of asset declaration, for issues of code of conduct. Invite these people. Ask them questions. We have given you leads already. So why do we need to, why does anybody even need to push anybody to do their work? The matters are clear. Just do your work. So we must continue to mount that pressure on them.
Another issue is with the legal system. Being a serving governor now, with the whole immunity clause and everything, do you think that this will pull through? I mean, as soon as Nigerians will want
Yeah,
it
that's one thing about Nigeria's law regarding immunity. So nothing can be done. But I always believe that actions are not only for the government to take, but also for citizens too. In our society, we must evolve a kind of civic culture that frowns on corruption, on sharp practices. So even if you are not prosecuted, when you are no longer received well on the basis of what you have done, that's enough deterrent. In our villages, a local government chairman, maybe after 6 months, a local government chairman who is earning maybe 200,000 naira will go build massive duplex in a village, and on top of that, he will still become Otumba of that village. That's like saying that corruption is a normal thing. Nobody is asking question, where have you got this money? But when our people, our society, when we stop welcoming this kind of sharp practices, people with unexplained wealth, they will know, even if I steal the money, who am I impressing? Nobody will give me chieftains this time. Nobody will say, hey, Babao, in the village.
But isn't that a challenge for us, looking at the poverty level in the country?
Yeah, it's a challenge for us, but we have enough enlightened people. Many of the people who have tried, though failed, to discredit our report, they are not poor people. Many of them are educated people, people who have gone to school, people who are working. But maybe for sectional reasons, for political reasons, they just had to switch lane. Like what we didn't say, we didn't say he's corrupt, he stole. We didn't say he stole money, Peter Obi stole money. We said that Nigeria's law says this, he did this, and that's breach of the law. That's very clear. So it's not just about poverty, it's not just about ignorance. So people just want to do what, because we have seen educated people who defend corrupt people, who say, oh, it's anti-North, oh, it's anti-Yoruba, oh, it's anti-Igbo, and these are educated people. These are people who are working.
The pressure mounting on President Buhari to probe Bagudu, Obi, and others. And we have in the studio Adebayo Hassan, investigative reporter, Premium Times. Now, this report was published by Premium Times in collaboration with Pandora Papers. Now, a whole lot we are saying about Nigeria's assets abroad. One really wonders, how do these public officers circumvent the process and acquire assets outside the shores of Nigeria, despite all the provisions that there are in the laws?
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. Interestingly, we published a couple of reports, with our partners in the UK Finance Uncovered on what we call Nigerian secret properties in the UK, One, in the UK, if you are a public official in Nigeria, or you are a politician in Nigeria, you will be treated as a PEP, politically exposed person. Therefore, there will be enhanced due diligence checks on you if you want to buy a property in your own name in London. They will be asking about how you source your money and all that, which you may not be able to scale, So what they will do, therefore, is to go to a secrecy haven, maybe BVI, Singapore, Seychelles, register a share company there. It's that now, they will now route money from here to that share company in the offshore. That company will now go to London to buy the property. So in the UK, they have tax loopholes. They have loopholes in their laws too. A foreign company can buy property without anybody asking who is the ultimate beneficial owner of this company. So Nigerian or Africans or anybody, they can hide behind these secret companies and anonymously buy the property. So renters, sales, and all that, from any proceeds from that company will still flow back to them. ultimate. So it's a classic example of illicit financial flow. So one of the things we are trying to push, is that this kind of law, in the UK is changed. So that if any foreign company is coming, they will ask, who is the owner? And then they will be able to raise questions about, where have you sourced your money? What are you doing? So back to your question specifically, Nigeria has got issues of having to borrow money and all that, whereas we have suspicious funds, flowing across the world linked to properties abroad. I think it may not be enough, but Nigeria has to step up efforts to collaborate with some countries towards asset recovery. With the kind of what we have done, like this morning we published with Finance Uncovered, that hundreds of Nigerians, they own UK properties secretly through these offshore companies.
But I recall that there was this agreement between Nigeria and some countries. There was this kind of MOU that was agreed upon as far as to fight corruption and all of that.
Money laundering.
Yes, and money laundering. That open agreement where if you have Nigerians abroad doing some illicit stuff, they can be arrested and handed over to Nigeria and all of that. With all that agreement, is it not yielding any result?
Yes, it could be very helpful. But these people, offshore economy is a shadow economy. It's something separate on its own. Both the UK, for instance, and Nigeria don't know the owners of these offshore companies. That's why it's a very serious issue. You can do anything with it. You can do anything criminal with it. They don't know. So the only thing they deal with is just the name, maybe ABC BV High Limited. That's what they deal with. So what we have done now is to disclose the identities of the owners of these companies owning these properties, and the authorities can then go after them. In one of our reports today on Seller Hodua, as a minister, as aviation minister, just within a month, he bought 4 houses with 6.7 million pounds, as a minister before she was sacked in 2014. She bought that. She couldn't have been able to do that using her own name directly. If she had done that, any agreement with the UK could have been triggered. Even UK on their own, they would do some due diligence checks, which may now make it difficult for her, to have acquired those properties. So she had to go through Seychelles, to buy the properties secretly, anonymously. So nobody would know that she's the ultimate beneficial owner of those houses, And CCB Nigeria, what could they have done? They will not know. So one of the things Nigerian officers do is that, Nigeria law says that if you are acquiring any property as a government official, it must be attributable to fair earning, to your legitimate earning, But if you don't know that I own this asset, well, how would you come after me?
Now, this investigation that was done by Pandora Papers dates back to as early as 2010 and even before that. How come you have this kind of activity going on and the public hasn't heard about it until now? And yet, these people who are probably vying for political offices and all of that, are supposedly meant to go through some kind of scrutiny before they eventually, become what they become.
Yeah.
So how is all of this swept under the carpet and nobody sees it?
Yeah. The issues covered in the Pandora Papers, span decades, but the actual investigation took 2 years. So since 2019, we have been sifting through the files, the records, and not leaking, nobody knowing means maybe it's something about the professionalism, of the partners, of the journalists involved. Nobody knew. I'm even sure not spouses of the partners of the journalists involved until maybe October 2nd this year.
All right. The response here from our anti-corruption agencies here is the EFCC is silent, and the ICPC, CCB said they are studying the report. Is that the report of the Pandora Papers that they are studying?
Yeah, apparently that's what Daily Trust reported, and I think it's a fantastic job that Daily Trust has done. Getting through to these people and asking them what you are doing. They have said that they are still studying the report. So maybe in the days ahead, other media houses or Daily Trust again will ask them that, okay, where are you now in your studies? More names have been uncovered. Where are you now? But I think something is going to happen this time around. We have a government that touts anti-corruption resolve. So if you don't do anything about this, how do you come out and say that you are one anti-corruption champion or something? When clear issues are mentioned.
Well then, thank you so much, Adebayo.